some brilliant guests tonight.
The reason why we are on lockdown has nothing to do with the fact of building our immune system.
Try something else for a bit, then stop. So they've been using us all as guinea pigs.
What I will do differently now is that I won't feel like I haven't got a voice because I'm not Black.
Everybody's going to be dead at the same time.
I have never spoken about Black on Black because it's a nonsense, because most crimes are committed by non-Blacks.
Let that child go to school and come back with anything and see me.
The disclaimer for the Pick a Topic with Sam and Guest show. The opinions aired on this chat show are not necessarily the views of the presenter. The information on this chat show is not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. All content, including text, graphics, images, and information contained on or available through this chat show are for general information purposes only. This chat show makes no representation and assumes no responsibility for the accuracy of information on or available through this chat show, and such information is subject to change without notice. You are encouraged to confirm any information obtained from or through this chat show with other sources, and review all information regarding any medical condition or treatment with your physician.
Well, it's a good evening from me, Samantha Scott. You are tuned in to Pick a Topic with Sam and Guest today, and I would like to say welcome. We are back for another week. Now, this week, we're discussing infidelity and polyamory, and we have got the lovely Nigel Beckles in the studio tonight. He's been with us for the past 2 weeks. This is his third week now, and I'm going to bring him on just to introduce himself and explain a bit about what it is that he does. How are you doing, Nigel?
Good evening. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
What do I,
David, I'd say.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What do I do? I'm an author. I am a certified relationship coach, and I support people who have been involved with a abusive relationship.
Brilliant. Okay. So, I was going to ask you a question, but do you know what I want to do this week? Because we also have Jacqueline Iboden Griffith, who is a polyamory coach. So I want to bring her on to introduce herself and just explain a bit about what she does and how she got into it as well. So here we go. Hi.
Hello. Hello. Hi. So yes, I'm Jacqueline. I'm living in London. I'm a certified social worker, and I coordinate and growing and mentor a community of polyamorous from a people of colour perspective. I identified as polyamorous about 7-8 years ago, even though looking back I always was. I just didn't have a word for it. I just thought I was strange or wrong. And done lots of research and found a great organisation in America called Black and Poly, and became the coordinator for the UK and London. And so we're growing. So I'm here to share the information.
Excellent. Okay, you sound like you've been a busy bee, Jacqueline.
I always am. Yeah.
Okay, well, I was about to say, without further ado, let me introduce the guest on the panel tonight also. However, I do want to quickly say a good evening to Everine, Dorette Brown, and Beverly Brown, who's joined us, and I could see their chats on the screen. So I just wanted to say good evening. How you doing, everyone? Okay, so I'm going to do it a little bit different this week. I would usually ask Nigel a question, which means I would usually ask yourself, Jacqueline, a question. But what I'm going to do this week is I'm actually going to bring on the other guests, and then I'm going to ask everyone the same question. And I'm going to ask both of you this question after they have answered. I think that's probably the best way around this week. So let's bring on Lewis Mastermind. How you doing, Lewis?
Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's well and staying safe and keeping warm.
Remove you, Lewis. We have to remove you. Your sound is crackling. Maybe your headphones are crackling. I'm not sure about that. Hello, Claudette. How are you?
Hi. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm blessed and highly favored.
Excellent. Love it. Let's try Lewis again. Hi, Lewis.
Good evening and welcome. How is everybody? Are we well? Staying safe? Keeping warm? How was that?
That was brilliant, Lewis. Thank you.
Hey, that's
Okay.
all right. I'm cooking on gas.
Listen, the thing is that you've got a slight echo now, Lewis. But we're gonna have to see if we can work with this. You know, Lewis, today we are talking about infidelity and polyamory, and I want to throw the question to you as to why do you think people cheat, and is it different, do you think, for men and women?
Cheating. The definition of cheating. How could you define it? It comes in various guises, doesn't it? Flirtatiousness, that could be classed as cheating. Obviously, having multiple partners is cheating. I don't think it's different between men and women. I think both do it mainly for trust issues, mainly for lack of esteem issues. What else do they do it for? Mainly because not being comfortable with the partner they're with for whatever reason. There's multiple reasons why. So yeah, so it's a very, very wide ranging subject. It's called cheating, I think, in my book.
Okay, all right, and I'm going to go to Claudette now, and I'm going to ask you the same question. Why do you feel people cheat, Claudette? Do you feel it's different for men and women?
Yes, I do. As Lewis said, I agree. People cheat for different reasons, but I feel that men are driven to cheat for different reasons to women. I think it's just more of a natural thing for men. I feel men have the need to conquer more than women have that need. It's almost inherent in men, I feel, as opposed to women. I feel that normally when women, it's a reaction to something that's happened to them. I'm not saying that all women just don't feel that, the need to have some excitement other than with their partner, but and be dishonest about it. But I just feel that it's much more common among men than it is women.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
Sam, she's hit a raw nerve there.
Why?
Why is she saying it's different from men and women? When men get, I've got to defend the brothers here. Women are just as deviant, Let's not get away from it. Let's be honest. Women are just as deviant as men when it comes to cheating.
I never said women couldn't do it. I said they don't tend to do it because, of course, women are more intelligent than men, so they are going to be a bit more.
There are we today? Okay, we'll leave it there.
Okay, well, listen, I'm gonna go to, let's do ladies before gents. I'm gonna go to Jacqueline.
Yeah.
And I'm asking you, Jacqueline, the very same question. Do you think it's different for men and women? But I'm going to throw something else in there for you. I'm also going to ask you, do you feel that polyamory cuts the cheating out?
Right. The first question, I don't look as cheating patterns and styles as being gender-based. We are in a world where we have gender fluidity. you know, what is male, what is female. I do believe, and this is my personal belief, that one person cannot meet all our needs, and we're actually a social group of humans, and it's a construct that we've placed ourselves into being monogamous, and if we break from that, we're deviant, and it's because we've got self-esteem issues. Something happened in the past. I don't necessarily agree. Polyamory, yeah. Anything that breaks a rule or an agreement between two people or people is cheating, whatever that looks like. So if, you know, if anyone's agreed to do no kissing and then they kiss someone, that's broken. It's a broken agreement.
Okay.
And I think that happens in all love styles, monogamy, polyamory. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to be coming back to you shortly, Jacqueline. I want to ask Nigel the very, very same question. Nigel, do you think it's different for men and women, the reasons why they cheat?
The reasons why they cheat, yes. Yes. According to my research and personal observations, men cheat more than women, but women are better at it.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's just how it is.
Sorry, Nigel, could you just repeat that? I didn't quite hear what you said.
Wow.
I said that generally men cheat more, but women are better at it, i.e. cheating, getting away with it.
Just a second, Nigel. Just a second. Did everybody hear?
Yes,
Nigel just said?
It's rather slut shaming, really.
You know, to be honest,
kind of vibes.
To be honest, it's because one of our listeners have got up here. Everine is saying men are sloppy, and I think that might have something to do with it. But I do want to continue to hear what Nigel has to say as to what the different reasons are.
Well, sloppy being the correct phrase, actually. It's nothing to do with slut shaming. It's just, it is. I mean, at the end of the day, some feminist inclined women have got this idea that all women are angels and they don't do anything wrong. Well, women cheat. I mean, that's there's nothing controversial about saying that. It's just a fact of life. In terms of why men cheat, well, men cheat for a variety of reasons. Just as Lewis said, it's not a one size fits all answer. Guy might cheat because the woman he's with makes him feel unmanly, or maybe she's emasculating him, or maybe she earns more money than him and throws it in his face. Could be a variety of reasons why a guy cheats. And the same for a woman. A woman may cheat because she's not happy in the relationship. Maybe she's getting her other needs met. And one thing, as Lewis mentioned, one thing can lead to another. Flirtatious behavior can lead to other issues in a relationship, which causes it to crash. A variety of reasons. We could talk about that particular topic all night, and we haven't got all night.
We haven't. Okay. Well, look. Let's see what HRH Mel is saying. How you doing, HRH Mel? She is saying men tend to cheat because of ego, and some are just wired to. So I guess some people are saying that with men, most men, they're saying that it's innate. And I think from what I'm getting here, apart from Jacqueline, what I'm getting here is that women tend to cheat because simply because they are not being treated properly or something along those lines. However, we've established that regardless of the reason for cheating, women are better at it. Wow. I shouldn't act surprised. Well, the thing is Jacqueline, when we were on the phone speaking, you mentioned the word
Oh, that word.
we can't a made
No,
up word.
I'm not.
We can't actually say here today, and I've
Mm.
named it something different so that we can sort of talk about that. Is there still polymuckeries?
There's muckeries in monomuckeries. There's monopoly. It's muckeries in every love style.
Right.
So it's about you having the wisdoms, taking your time, like in a monogamous relationship, getting to know someone and make your choices. We can make toxic choices in any love style, and can make good choices in any other love style, you know. So.
Okay. Well, look, we are going to get down to talking, first of all, I think, in more depth about polyamory. Now, I've got to admit, I had to do a bit of research about polyamory. Good evening, George Williams. How are you? I had to do some research because when I spoke with Jacqueline, I said, we're going to do a show about infidelity and polygamy. And Jacqueline said to me, you do realize that there's more than one poly? And I thought, oops, okay, I'm sorry, Jacqueline, I didn't realize. I hope I've not offended you. But then she went on to tell me that there is polygamy, which is the one I knew about, where men marry more than one woman, which is actually illegal. And then there's the reverse, which is polyamorous. I hope I'm getting this correct. And that's where women marry loads of men. But I cannot remember the correct term for what I would just call an open relationship. And I'm going to get Jacqueline in to explain that to us now. What's the actual term for an open relationship? What poly is that?
That can come under the umbrella of non-monogamy. So non-monogamy may include swinging lifestyle, couple in a swinging lifestyle or fetish kink lifestyle, or they've got this unspoken agreement that they can have sex away from their union. Polyamory is about having several romantic relationships, with a big feature on consent and transparency. In some occasions, you may, I have a partner and I'm friends with his partner and her partner. There's different styles, but it's being able to love more than one. So non-monogamy is more of kind of as a sexual edge to it, but you do find people that are in that lifestyle tend to go into that love style. There is a flow.
Can you just clear this up for me? Because George Williams is saying there is only polyandry.
Polyandry is when women have more than one husband. Polyamory is a love style. Polyandry, yeah. So polyamory, but under polyamory comes lots of different relationship configurations, which is too complicated to talk about now.
It's different polys.
Yeah.
But I want to come to yourself because you've got first-hand experience of this, Jacqueline.
Yeah.
My understanding is that you are married.
Yeah.
And you have a boyfriend in America.
Yeah.
And you've got a boyfriend somewhere else. I can't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your husband has a girlfriend.
Yes.
Which you get on with.
Yeah.
And your husband has met both of your boyfriends.
Not physically, because but they're in contact. They're on the same social media groups. We all support each other. Yeah. Not all polyamorous people do that though. That's some like to just keep it quite separate. But yeah.
Okay. All right. So what would you say to people who have never really, or whether it be they've never really heard of it, or they can't get their head around it, or what would you say to them?
I say to them to join some poly groups. There's lots of literature. There's people like me. There's people in the community. There's a lot of information out there on YouTube. and to take your time. I mean, when I presented the notion to my husband, it was many years before we actually went out on our first dates. Because one thing it takes is a lot of open communication and a lot of feelings and unpicking. So take your time.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go to Nigel here, because Nigel, last week we were talking about narcissist. And after the show, I think I posed this question to you, and Jacqueline, I certainly know I posed it to you when we were speaking. And this is no disrespect, and obviously I don't know the first or the last thing about poly anything apart from what you've told me. But Nigel, isn't polyamory the perfect grounds for a narcissist, simply because sorry, I shouldn't say that. I should say polygamy and polyamorist. Is that not the perfect grounds for a narcissist?
Well, don't know about perfect. I mean, what I would say is that I'm a live and let live kind of guy. So if I hear people complaining about gay marriage, well, I say, well, if you don't like gay marriage, don't marry someone of the same sex, really. Problem solved. And I've got nothing, I haven't got a problem with consenting adults doing what they want to do. The problem is that sometimes consenting adults are not clear on what they're actually consenting to. For example, people can go into friends with benefits situations or arrangements, thinking they can handle it. A little way down the road, because emotions get involved, etc., it proved a little bit more difficult than just having sex by arrangement. And I just see or foresee there would be or could be potential pitfalls in that type of arrangement. Going back to your question about narcissists, well, possibly. I mean, at the end of the day, one of the main traits of a narcissist is entitlement. Another trait is selfishness. And at the end of the day, I kind of look at it and I think, well, you can look at it and say, well, you've got multiple partners because it's difficult for one person to meet all your needs. But on the other hand, that's what a constructive relationship would be about in the first place. So it seems to me a little bit like an a la carte kind of thing. You go to the restaurant and you kind of pick what you want. as opposed to just taking a set menu meal kind of
No. I mean, polyamory is about relationships. I'll tell you something.
One second, Jacqueline. Before we get into that, there is someone online who has asked a very pertinent question, and I'd just like to get that out. She's saying, Everine is saying, as long as this is all protected. So the question is it all protected?
What do you mean protected? Sexual health?
Intimacy, I would imagine.
Sexual health. There's been lots of research out there, and from personal experiences, I would say that the community are highly aware, have regular checks. It's spoken about. I know my partner's sexual health history. If there's an accident, there's communication. And let's not assume there are many polyamory relationships that are non-sexual. You know, platonic, romantic.
Actually, you did explain that. You said to me that some of it's just about the personality and the character, and
and just got that
from different people in that way. So some of it's not sexual
at all. It's not. I've got romantic platonic relationships, so some are non-sexual. But it's because ethical polyamory is all about talking and communication. That's a big aspect of the love style. So we do talk. So there's a lot of protection. Very safe.
All right. Do you know what? I think this is a very good place to go to the ad break. We now know that once it goes to the ad break, time just seems to slip away. So we're going to go to the ad break and we're going to come back we're going to throw this whole thing open. There's loads of people asking questions. For instance, Di Green Eyes is asking, why does she do it? Not judging or anything. So we'll come back and we'll hopefully answer that question, and we'll get Lewis and Claudette more involved in this section. But please remember also that we will be throwing the telephone line open so people can actually call in and ask questions also. But for now, let's go to the ad break.
Have you experienced several failed relationships or been through a divorce? How can you avoid making the same mistakes again? How to avoid making the big relationship mistakes is out now. Now you can discover the dangerous myths about love. If your relationship expectations are realistic, why you could be falling in love for all the wrong reasons.
How to avoid making the big relationship mistakes. It's a book that could change your life.
Available from amazon.co.uk. Kindle version also available.
Okay, so the question was, without no offense, Di Green Eyes was asking you, Jacqueline, why do you do it?
Why do I do it? When I was 4 years old, I'd be in the playground and I'd be with Lisa and I'd be with Anna. And Lisa and Anna would not get on that day, not be friends. And then one of them would tell me I couldn't be any of their friends. And I always thought at the time, well, why can't I be with and love both my friends at the same time? I grew up, adolescence into womanhood. I always had more than one partner, and my depth of love for them was different.
So basically, can I
and that's how I am. Yeah.
Can I interject here, Jacqueline? What you're basically saying is that you just want to be free to do what you want to do, basically, without society telling you that you should be a certain way.
No, polyamory takes lots of responsibility, a lot of ethical work, there's a lot of issues around consent and respect. No, you can't do what the hell you
sorry, let me rephrase what I'm saying, because I don't mean it like that. Yes, you can, Lewis, but can I just clear this up? Can I just quickly clear this one up, Lewis, before you do? Jacqueline, what I mean is not necessarily you do what you want to do. I'm saying you would like to be the free spirit that you are within reason, meaning that other people need to understand and know who you are. But it does allow you, to be who you are without society telling you who. That's what I mean by be able to do.
Yeah, it's my identity. I think a lot of people get lifestyle and love style mixed up, and polyamory isn't for me a lifestyle, it's a love style, it's a way I love. It's my identity, and there's nothing wrong with being monogamous, there's nothing wrong with being polyamorous. It's who
We're
you
all
are.
consenting adults, and so long as everybody's understanding each other, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Okay, sorry, Lewis, let's get your question in.
Well, it's for me, first of all, I haven't got the stamina to be polyamorous, right? I'm a one man, one woman. I can't multitask. That's the first thing I could say. But again, it's different strokes for different folks. And it just flies. So coming back to the point about cheating earlier on, I think you'll find by default, a lot of people are polyamorous, right? But not by the definitive word of what it is. Because if you have multiple partners, you're cheating. That could be classed as polyamorous. So just putting it out there.
Well, it
But
can't
again,
be kind of
no,
because
well,
polyamory,
no, because
they're
what you're
aware,
doing
aren't
is,
they?
Consenting.
what I see is, and this is just my interpretation is polyamorous, is that you've got a raft of requirements of what you like. And so you're picking and choosing from different people of how you find to relate to them. So communication, you might have communication with one person much better than you would consent with another. Mutual respect and trust. It's all a bit of a mixed pot. But for me, it's again, it's a strange world, but people, as I said, not criticizing what Jackie does. If she enjoys it, that's her prerogative. Enjoy, go on and do what you got to do. But for me, I haven't got the stamina for it. But I find that it sort of flies in a way of how you're programmed as individual, that your one woman, one man kind of mantra of being marriage, all that kind of stuff that you're brought up with, just doesn't seem to compute with me. It's just my personal view. So, you know, as I said, different strokes for folks, but I ain't got no stamina for that.
Yeah, but Lewis, is it just about the stamina, or is it also about, well,
Well,
I'm not being funny or nothing, but my woman is my woman?
Yeah, well, there's that as well, because you have a queen, right? As a man, you have a woman you put on a pedestal as your queen, and you want to do everything right for her in a union. So that's the way I look at it. But again, as Jackie said, she had a different perspective on life, that she felt she was more attuned to having various elements of people and being able to pick and choose and having that kind of relationship that she developed as it went along. But again, it's different strokes, different folks. But again, in the way that you're brought up, in my sort of looking at it, is that I've always looked at the holy grail of finding the one person, your soul partner, your life partner, being the one you want to be with the rest of your life. That's enough for me. If it works, then fine. But when that one ends, then you look to the next level. So have the multiple layers for me is a bit too much for me. But I ain't a multitasker, I told you.
Okay, I want to hear from you, Claudette. What's your take on everything so far?
I like Lewis have been brought up old fashionedly, and so polyamorous, being in a polyamorous relationship wouldn't be for me. I mean, sexually, but I kind of think that a lot of people are in polyamorous relationships socially, without maybe even realizing it. Lindsay and I think, are quite close, and so I don't care who he talks to. He's sitting in his study, and I know he supports lots of different people. So in a way, I suppose we are in a polyamorous relationship. It's not sexually, but certainly socially, and I am there for other people as well. So I think from that perspective, you know, I think it's a nice thing.
But
Um,
can I ask you, isn't that just what you call friendship? Or are we going to label it something different?
Well, this is it. It could be friendship. The reason why I feel that it maybe just listening to Jackie, that it might not, but that it might be more than friendship, is because um, friendship um, friendship is tends to be a lighter kind of relationship with someone, whereas these are people telling you their deepest, darkest secret. Sometimes they're telling you stuff you don't even want to know, but you're supportive.
Okay, but again, to me, that's definitely a friendship. I mean, let's just quickly touch on friendship for a minute, because a lot of people say they're your friends, but they're not really. They're your associates. A friend, as far as I'm concerned, to be honest, the friends that I have, they are now family, and I've known them from since I was born, or I was going to school with them. They're now family. So, I mean, people, I think, bant around the name friendship all a bit too easy. I think what you're talking about, Claudia, is actually friendship. I really do. Um, Jacqueline, in fact, no, Nigel, what's your take on that?
Well, basically, there are different types of relationships, aren't there? That isn't news as such. I've got vastly more female friends than male friends, and they are friends, i.e., platonic. We get on, have a chat, etc. Going back to what Lewis was saying earlier about having his queen and cheating, what you will find is that with guys, they are less inclined to forgive if their partner cheats. Because guys,
so
again,
true.
going back to the ego thing and the territorial thing, women tend to be more, or can be more, forgiving of a partner who strays. Men, not so much so. In terms of this topic we're discussing tonight, it seems to me that it's a lot to untangle, because it seems to be all these different versions of what polygamy can be. You know, it can be one thing for one person and something else. I assumed before we started doing this, I'd done a bit of research, but I assumed that there was generally a sexual component to the interactions that were going on. I'm getting the impression now
it's not so.
it isn't necessarily so. But then in that case, then are you really in a relationship, inverted commas, then as such?
I personally think, and this is just my take on it, and I'm no expert, my take on it is that so long as you are not being sexually intimate, as far as I'm concerned, that's a friend. It's a friend. It's a platonic friendship. And I personally wouldn't call it anything different. HRH Mel is saying, why not just stay single and do your thing?
She's got a point.
Oh, is that a question to me?
Well, yeah, I mean, I could probably answer it on your behalf, Jacqueline, and maybe let me see if I can, because we did have an in-depth discussion. And just to let you know, I was listening. It's not my way, but I was listening, and I get it. I understand. You love your husband very, very much. In fact, you know, I mean, that's your king, right? And you have no intention of leaving your husband at all. But that doesn't mean that you don't want to venture out. And you wanted to be honest about it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I want to. I want to be able to love and express and receive love with those people that come into my life openly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Everine is saying, Everine is saying, and I'll do it in the accent.
Listen, jealous for that.
You're too jealous for that. Nah, lie. May as well be single. Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, stop it. And Venetia, I hope I've said your name right. Venetia Morgan, the song Too Girly Girly comes to mind. Oh dear, she have one up there, one down there. Oh dear. Wow. And we've got polyamory. Tahira, how are you? We've got Tahira saying polyamory is more than one partner, whichever sex. Polyandry, one woman, more than one man.
Okay.
Do you know? I mean,
but one thing about it,
I
Sam,
think what some people are asking, or well, a lot of. Let me just say it in the English way. I'm getting a lot of craven, like basically greedy. People are being greedy. Is that the case, or is it just that you're just going against the grain of what society's taught you? Personally, like Lewis, I haven't got the energy for it. All the ups and downs and all the rest of it that relations come with. Jesus Christ. Look, I think I would actually be a nervous wreck if I was going to go into anything like that, because I think one is enough. I mean, one can cause you so much heartache. They can give you so much love as it is already. I mean, having more than one is like, oh God. Look, I mean, with a friend, okay, they are a friend and you are going to speak with them and so on and so forth. But it is different when the intimacy side comes into it. So yeah, I mean, sounds tiring. Please don't forget that you can call in. You can call in and you can answer your questions personally. You can stay anonymous if you want. The number is 0746924365. Do call in. Let us hear from you and let's have a discussion.
I was going to say
George
something.
Williams should call in because
I was going to say something.
he's all for it. Sorry, Lewis, go ahead.
No, Claudette, go on, Claudette, sorry.
No, I was going to ask, you know, with this sorry, let me get the right. I was just asking, with this community, is it 50-50? Are there more men that are likely to join in this community than women? Because I just feel that women are wired differently. No disrespect to you, Jackie, but women are more wired towards making a home, so keeping everything together and trying to preserve all that.
Interestingly, it's usually 9 out of 10 times it's the woman that brings it up to the man.
Wow.
I would say there's more women, certainly in my group, there are more women than men.
What
yes. The thing is, polyamory is based on, egalitarian polyamory is based on womanism, which is a kind of offshoot of feminism anyway. So no, it's women are in charge in many ways. It's very empowering.
Okay. One question I was going to ask though, in the States, I know it's illegal in most of the American states. I think Massachusetts is the only state that allows it, isn't it?
You're talking polygamy and polyandry. That's about marrying. Polyamory isn't that.
It's not that at all.
It's not that. Yeah,
Okay.
that's just, it's polyamory.
But just touching on one of the things that Lewis just said, when it comes, but it's not really light, is it? In the States, when it comes to legal battles for child custody and stuff like that, it's a bit frowned upon, isn't it?
It's getting much better, and there are states that are changing it, but that's that's a whole different program. But polyamory, we've got to remember this isn't a new thing, especially people of color. A lot of our cultures, early cultures, were polyamorous.
Jacqueline, that's the thing. I
not
didn't
new.
even think of that. But George Williams has just put a comment up there saying, the politic going back in history, if my brother dead, me take him wife and children. Now, I mean, I haven't researched all of that, but I think there was some of that went on. To be honest, I just
Monogamy is a new thing. Monogamy and marriage is a relatively, and if you look in history, is a construct that is modern, that was created by men. But I'm getting into my feminism bit. It's a construct. How we look at monogamy is very new. It's a new construct, love style. If you look at history,
family environment though, when the family environment's quite key. So children, etc. What's the position around that? Because if you've got, children where, they're being brought up under the Christian faith and everything that goes on with that, and then they're seeing this construct of various relationships around them. How does that work?
Well, what works is that they get information and they get informed and they can see different ways that people love. It's just a different love style. Why are we demonizing it? Monogamy, modern, Western beliefs. Yeah, there's a history to it. We have been polyamorous longer than we have been monogamous.
Wow.
And that's why sometimes when people go into polyamory, you've got to unpick monogamous mind thoughts. So, at the beginning, when my partner would go on a date with his girlfriend, my instinct is, oh, he's going to leave me. It's, oh, he doesn't love me so much. It's not true.
Let's just quickly switch here for a minute, because we are also discussing infidelity. And I would like to say to Nigel, because I was always under the impression, Nigel, that when a woman cheats, that it's because she's not happy in her relationship more often than not. Um, because I feel that it's innate for us, I feel, usually for women to stick with one man. Um, is that the case or is it not?
Well, generally, I would say yes. I mean, women are generally more nurturing in their nature, as it were, and that's just something that's built into most women. It's a biological thing more than anything else. In terms of basically, women have more oxytocin, which is a hormone they produce when they're cuddling or if they're breastfeeding or if they have an orgasm, and men have more testosterone, basically the action, go get it kind of hormone. So at the end of the day, as we said before, women cheat for various reasons, men cheat for various reasons. But I do feel that for men, it is more ego driven in terms of the cheating.
Okay.
Often, not always, as I said, there isn't a one size fits all to a lot of these questions.
Okay. I want to say hello to Carol Patterson. And I just wonder, George Williams, would you actually call in? You've got some very good points that you're making. I know you may be shy, but you can always be anonymous if you wish. Your points are very, very good and very thought-provoking. In fact, I'm also going to ask if HRH Mel can call in because she has some very good points as well. I have been putting these comments up on the screen. Beverly Brown is saying, I can be very jealous, but my eye can deceive me sometimes. So being single suits me just fine right now. Don't have to explain myself to anybody. HRH Mel is saying your partner is not supposed to fill every emotional, social, and psychological need. Rather than supplement with other partners, why not fill with platonic friends? Sex is still a spiritual undertaking, no matter what our culture displays. Okay, well put, Mel. And I think we were saying that earlier that, I mean, yeah, that Jacqueline, sorry, you are absolutely correct. Not one person can fit your every need, but then there's friendships, and that's where that comes in. And
yeah, and I've loads of them. Yeah, I've all of them.
Okay,
but if your friendship, if your relationship, isn't it fun to try and grow together and discover things together and evolve your relationship?
I think we've got a caller, guys. We've got a caller. Bear with me, please.
Yeah.
Hello, caller.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, what's your name today, caller?
I have no name.
Okay, right. So you are anonymous today. All right. Caller, what's your reason for calling today?
I grew up in a time where there's something called HIV.
Okay.
That prohibits sexual activities that can cause death. Am I wrong?
Is that question to Jacqueline?
No, to you.
To me. So you're saying because of HIV, it means that people should not be with more than one partner. Is that the question?
I'm saying you have to limit it.
You have to limit it.
You can't be that grabalicious that you want everything.
So are you saying just one partner or two? I don't understand.
One should I mean, I understand some people can't fulfill your needs and everything, but it's dangerous out there.
Well, to be honest, caller, I completely agree with you. However, it doesn't mean I do not have an understanding of what Jacqueline is saying or what she partakes in. Do you not understand or get what she's saying?
No, I get it, but I just think that in this life we've been shown certain things. You know, I'm not trying to be biblical or anything like that. I'm just saying that for safety, emotionally, physically, well-being, it's safer for everybody if we have rules where you find somebody and you stick with them.
Jacqueline, do you want to answer this?
Well, I found people and I'm sticking with them. I've got to say, within the community, there's a huge difference with the attitudes towards safe sex. And actually, it's really locked tight. It's really locked tight. Also, polyamory isn't a lifestyle. It's not swinging. We're not, hanging from the chandeliers. It's a love style. Yeah, you use protection, but some people prefer to be sticking within the rules. So I respect that. I just don't live that way.
I really hear your point of view, and
Yeah.
I believe that you seem a very honest and true person.
I'm trying to be.
And I, unfortunately, in my lifetime, have lost friends that had similar perspective as yourself, because the people that they were having sexual relations with weren't as honest as them, and they lost their lives because of it.
Yeah.
I think that's where you were talking about polymuckeries now, weren't you?
Yeah. I mean, it is spoken about in our little polycules, and if there's an issue and everyone really knows, it's quite open, takes getting used to. The biggest rate of sexual transmitted diseases is actually with the 50 plus heterosexual monogamous community. That's where the biggest rise is. So that's quite interesting. Monogamous plus
Do you
50 plus.
Do you think that is because, Jacqueline and caller and the rest of the panel, do you think that is because people who are monogamous take it for granted that, well, their partner's going to be faithful, whereas in a polyamory type relationship, it's more a matter of, well, we just got to be careful because there's a few of us doing this, and
we've had an accident, or this has happened, or can everyone agree to have checks every 3 months? It's whatever that is,
Yeah, I think sometimes every single human being has a moment of wanting more than they have.
Okay.
And that can lead to problems.
Okay. All right, caller. Do you think possibly that if people were grown up believing that polyamory was the way, that it wouldn't be such a thing? It would be just normal?
No. Unfortunately, I believe that in my lifetime, I've come to see something different. I've had girlfriends that had that perspective, and they put my life in danger.
Mm.
So
that's interesting. That is interesting.
As far as I'm concerned, it's not something to be looked down on. But I think in this period in time, because I actually believe this is the way people used to live in the past. I don't believe that you can find one person and feel satisfied. But I think the human has had to evolve to a point where it has to make the choice of one person. Spiritually, mentally. There's a gentleman there that's talking about he cannot multitask because the actual connection that you have to have with one human being is so complex that when you divide yourself amongst other people, you become depleted as an individual.
Nigel, can you come in on this one, please?
Where do you want me to start? Well, my understanding is the sexual act is a spiritual act. And I read a long time ago that when you have sex with somebody, you're spiritually having sex with every person they've had sex with previously.
Thank you.
That's right. And I truly believe that.
So there's that aspect. I mean, the other aspect seems to me is that a person can have it be in the situation, as it were, or the arrangement, and have various partners, but not all of the partners necessarily are sexual. So it seems to me, yeah, it may be sexual with some, and it may be just be a platonic, emotional kind of connection with another. So it all seems very, I suppose you have to take it on a case-by-case basis, as far as I can understand it so far.
But isn't an emotional, i.e., less sexual relationship?
Just 1 second, Claudette. I'm so sorry. Caller, have you finished?
No, I'd like to hear Claudette.
Okay. I just realized that we still have you online, and I wasn't sure if you had finished. Claudette, go right ahead. Thank you very much, caller.
I was just thinking, saying that being in an emotional relationship, sometimes I feel that can be more draining than a physical relationship. An emotional relationship can be more demanding than a physical relationship, because with physical it's wham bam thank you man, everybody's gone off in the different directions, whereas with an emotional relationship it's telling on the mind, on the soul. You go away, you think about it, it's more intimate almost.
I can't have a sexual relationship without a mental relationship.
That's a very interesting point.
Me personally, I can't connect with you physically if we're not if our brains aren't connecting. So I don't know how people can actually separate the other one. I don't get it.
Okay.
But that's me.
Okay. Nigel, would you like to answer that? Because that is a very good point. I mean, I cannot make myself want to be interested in someone just purely on a sexual basis. So,
well, and at the end of the day, the sexual act tends to be more of an emotional act for a woman than it is for a man. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of guys, I mean, I don't like generalizations, but a lot of guys can do what they've got to do, walk away, no emotions attached, effectively. It can be a very physical act for a man.
I've heard that. And do you know, let me tell you, and this actually, I've got to be honest, I felt a little bit disgusted, but then that's because I'm a woman. But one of my male friends who I asked many moons ago, I said, well, why do you cheat? If you love your woman, and I know you do, why do you cheat? And he said to me, well, Sam, it's a bit like going and taking a pee. Like, after you've gone and taken a pee, it's relieving, it's really nice, but after that you've forgotten you've taken a pee. And I thought, wow, really? Is that what it's like?
Wow.
But you're talking as if it's non-monogamy. I'm talking polyamory.
No, please.
Yeah.
I was talking about infidelity now, not polyamory.
Yeah, I was going to say, God.
So, I was disgusted by that.
Yeah.
The analogy is disgusting
Dreadful.
in itself, but yeah.
But is that what it's like for some men?
No, that's what it's like for him.
No.
I was
Don't
just
judge
asking.
every book by that. Don't know. Jesus.
That's what it's like for him.
Okay.
I would like to thank you all. You've done a fantastic show. I'm going now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, caller. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
It's always brilliant when we have a caller.
I want to know, Sam, what kind of men friend you have. That's what I want to know.
The thing is that I shouldn't really call this person a friend because they are an associate, first of all. I'm a singer, and so therefore I meet many, many different people in walks of life and in different countries all over the world. And you find yourself sometimes in discussions that you maybe otherwise wouldn't be in, because you're around the table having dinner with many different people who don't know each other, and someone might throw a question up. And, you know, I mean, I'm a conversationalist, and I'm not one of those people who like to talk about general chit chat. It bores me. I will kind of close off. So if it's a discussion that you can get your knife and fork into, well, yeah. And if I'm in the mood, I'm gonna indulge. So no, it's not about what kind of male friends I have, Mr. Lewis. I have some very good male friends.
I know. I think
you included.
You made a point which was very valid, in what environment you find yourself in determines the type of conversation, how it's articulated.
That's
So
right.
that's the key part of that.
That's
so you
right.
can find yourself in a corporate environment,
yep,
and then you find yourself into a musical environment from a DJ perspective.
Yep.
Different environments generate different types of knowledges and views.
Yep.
And it's how you sort of rectify which is the right of your wrong view. But I think coming back to the main point about this whole point about polymog, yeah, that, right?
Polyamory.
I'm just thinking about
polyamory.
But again, it's around individual interpretations of how you perceive your own life and how you want to run that life. And you can't fault it. You can't say it's right, it's wrong, it's indifferent. It's just how you feel as an individual. And as I said, come back to my scenario, you know, I haven't got the stamina for it. But again, Jackie's got a different outlook to it. I'm sure Claudette's view is completely different. Having married to Lindsay for 29 years or whatever, that's the way it goes. You know, sometimes you're in it,
just out of interest, Jacqueline, how long have you been married for?
Tim and I've been married for 13 years.
Wow.
Okay. Listen, Timmy G is saying just because people don't think they can be ethically non-monogamous does not mean that other people can't live polyamorous lives. Now, listen, very quickly, I don't want anyone to get mixed up or misunderstood on this show. We are not knocking anybody who is poly anything. We are just simply having a discussion. And remember, we're also discussing infidelity. So we're discussing two separate things, and they are very, very separate, because one is consenting and the other is not. And on that note, we have another caller. I was about to end the show. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hello, caller. What's your name?
This is Melanie, HRH Mel.
Hello, HRH. How you doing, my darling? This is a friend of mine, and she has been on this show before. How are you?
Welcome.
I'm doing just fine.
Great stuff. You're echoing a bit. You may need to turn down the device.
Yeah. Let me mute it. There you go.
Okay, so what's your input or question today?
Well, I guess you know, Jojo, you know, Sam asked me to call in. I guess my question is that I'm in the States, so we have plenty of polyamory relationships. But I guess my question is that I'm really interested in Jackie's point of view as far as, and I guess maybe I missed it. I'm intrigued by why one does this, because if you are with one partner and you adore your partner, you're in love and everything, you know, and with any couple things that'll go up and down. Sometimes you love them, sometimes you don't, right? But I want to know what triggers in your brain that says, yeah, I love my partner, but I'm not being satisfied everywhere, so let me step out. I would imagine it takes a certain particular mindset to do that, and I'm really intrigued by that, because I don't know many women who are truly happy and engaged with their partner that says, let me step out. So I'm just wondering if there was there an event, you know, that made her, you know, change her mind, or like, how did she come to this?
I love more than one, and doesn't mean I'm dissatisfied with anyone. I'm very, very, very satisfied. You know, why do we have more than one friends? You know, why do we have they're more than one child. You know, you can love them all. I suppose with me, that's just how I'm wired. I'm wired
thinking, right?
that way.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I think if you're monogamous, you're
Yeah.
monogamous. If you're polyamorous, you're polyamorous. People could do a bit of both, but I'm wired that way.
To be honest,
Right.
that makes sense though, doesn't it, HRH? Because it's a bit like I always, when people are bashing gay people or whatever, I will say to them, but you can't make yourself fancy the same sex. So how do you see what I mean? And I guess if you're monogamous, you can't make yourself be a poly anything. And if you're poly, you can't make yourself be a monogamous person, I guess.
Well, I don't know, because I have a few friends who are poly. That's what I'm asking. So
Okay.
I do. I have as a matter of fact, I have a really dear friend who was monogamous, and then he entered into a poly lifestyle, and then reverted back, right? Being greedy, or what his story was. He says he wasn't, but all right.
Sounds like polymuckeries to me, Mel.
Right. I mean, I know him personally, so I know he's a man of character. But the point that I'm making is, I'm wondering if it's a matter of one being wired as such versus, listen, I'm sure we know a lot of people who were confessed as being straight, and then they were done with that, and then in their later years, or when they decided they didn't want to, they decided that they were going to be gay, right, or bi, whatever. I'm all right with grown people do what they want to do, but I'm just curious as a psychological and spiritual mindset of someone saying, yeah, I have a partner, he's my everything, and now I think I want to, extend that out to some other folks. Because my concern is not necessarily me, I'm concerned about all the other folks and what they're doing, because everyone doesn't have integrity like me. So that would be my concern. What are they bringing back to me? Are they really being honest about what they're doing? It's kind of like COVID. It's like, one person, it spreads out to 50 other people. So that would be my concern.
But
that's a whole different program.
It really is.
But I mean, wouldn't my thinking is that with the my other computers, with polyamory, the whole reason people are entering into this is to be truthful to each other. So therefore, there is not a need to cheat. So, and you're living by rules. So therefore, everyone is clean. Everyone is getting checked. Whereas the chances are the people that are supposedly living in monogamous relationships and cheating, they're not living by rules. They're not going for checks. They're not making sure that all their partners are clean
and consenting.
And consenting to being in a relationship with somebody who's in relationship with others. So I mean, I suppose for me, even though it's not for me, it's better. I would prefer that scenario than some cheating person.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? And I know HRH enough to know that I'm quite certain, HRH, that you would prefer someone to be honest with you than not. I know that.
No, absolutely.
But it doesn't mean doesn't mean then that we would want to be in a poly relationship.
Well, no, I'm going to tell you something that might shock you. So me, I'm a one woman, one dude kind of person, because I don't have the bloody bandwidth
exactly
to deal with your emotional state, my emotional state. Now, I will preface that I'm a Scorpio and that I'm an empath. So I can't manage a whole bunch of personalities, a whole bunch of energies, a whole bunch of something. So when I was married, and my husband was sticking his appendage everywhere and was not telling me the truth about it, I would literally feel it. I would know. Okay. So I would have rather him said, listen, this ain't working out, and me, I got to do a thing. Okay. So So there is a yes, I would prefer the honesty, but I personally, now, if someone can go out there and have 5 wives, you know, me and Bay had this conversation all the time. No, dude, you cannot have another chick unless you can see me, them, and all the pick me involved. So you got to have a house for me and a car for me and a house for her and a car. Nah, you don't get to be called king, okay, when you're dipping and dabbing. No, you need to have the financial resources, the mental acumen, the social, you know, the social graces to be able to manage 2 and 3 of us. Otherwise, go sit down somewhere, okay? So historically speaking, you know, yes, monogamy was a thing, is a new construct. I get it. And again, live and let live. I just know that in my corner over here, I better be all that you need, or you need to step off.
But the thing is, HRH, Mel, when I look at someone like yourself and myself and Claudette, and I can't say that I know Nigel well enough to say Nigel, but I'm including him and Lewis. I've got to say, I think we're a handful. How the hell anybody's going to handle us and somebody else? I don't understand.
Listen,
Jacqueline, seriously, I'm serious. I'm a handful. Okay. All right. I'm a whole lot to deal with. If you have energy after dealing with me to deal with someone else, man, I got to take my proverbial hat off to you, first of all, and then kick you to the curb.
I spend a lot of time doing a lot of self-care, and actually I don't have loads. Don't want loads of partners because I ain't got the time, you know. Quite frankly, I haven't got the time. And some I see regularly, some I might see now and again. But I do a lot of self-care. I do a lot of my stuff.
Where do you get the energy for Jacqueline? Look.
I need to know. You've got stamina for everyone.
Of course you can.
Stop it.
Go ahead. HRH Mel?
I want to answer. I'm just wondering again and again. Forgive me if I'm getting too deeper than I need to be. But my question is about the spiritual bandwidth. Like, you say you love your husband, and please, I promise you, hand up. If you could give me my hands up to God right now. I don't mean it to come off judgmental. I'm seriously asking a question. If you love your husband with all your might and soul and energy, how do you have energy and might for other folks? I guess that's if you're investing all of that you are into one partner, what's left? I guess that's
I'm not investing. My partner isn't getting all of me. He isn't getting all of, you know, we don't get all of anything from anyone.
I don't know if I agree with that, but all right.
Well, you know, why do we have more than one child? We've got the bandwidth to love them more child. We've got the bandwidth to love more siblings. Why is that limited to romantic relationships? Why?
Because
I love
sisters. So there are different words. There are different words in Hebrew for love, and
yes, it is
a different thing.
Yeah.
Right. So me having multiple children and having the bandwidth to love them as individuals, as different people, in my mind, and I'm not saying I'm accurate, I'm just saying in my mind, as how I perceive it, my love relationship, the person who I believe is my soulmate and my partner, I only have the bandwidth for him. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have male friends. I have plenty of male friends. But I would in my mind, I would not be comfortable crossing that line. Because I just believe that one-on-one is sacred. And that, again, that could be my wiring, that could be my construct, how I was raised, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But I do give all of what I have to him. Now, what he does is his business, and I can't quote him. But for me, there are certain things I give him that I entertain with him that I would not entertain with any other male or female for that matter. So to your point, you are far more evolved than the rest of us.
I think I'm just really being honest with who I am. I could have gone, you know, I'm just
And
being
and
honest.
I respect that, Jacqueline. I actually respect
Absolutely.
that. I have a
Absolutely. Me
great
too.
disrespect for people who, and I am coming to a close. HRH Mel, thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure hearing from you. Your points are
Thank you, my darling.
always valid. And I just love the way
Thank
that
you, my
you come across. Thank you so much. I'm going to say goodbye to you now, though.
Take care, darling.
Thank you. Right. So, like I said, I love it when we have a caller. I can't even remember what I was about to say because I can see something on screen. Everine is saying, so would you if you had the time? Who, Everine, who is that question for? And then you've written, she really built for this. I hope that question wasn't aimed at me because I weren't talking about having time, darling. I was talking about I'm a handful. Ain't nobody supposed to have time after dealing with me. Now,
you mentioned bandwidth earlier on, Sam, right? And
no, not me. Mel did.
Okay, well, Mel mentioned bandwidth, and much of what Mel said is rough. She's on the same par as where I'm coming from with this.
Yeah.
But it comes back to Jackie's view earlier on. Effectively, and I'm not sort of minimizing what she's saying, but she's got a lot of love to give, and she wants to share it with who she feels she wants to share it with. And that's her prerogative. And I just find it fine if that's how she wants to do it. But for me, it's exhausting for me. I just find it exhausting from experience.
Forgive my ignorance, but isn't it like being a Muslim? Aren't Muslims allowed to marry more than one wife?
You're going on to polyandry and polygamy. We're talking polyamory, but we could do a program on the differences.
Look, this is what I'm saying. There's more. You know what? I think it's time for us to come to a close because otherwise we're going to be here all night.
Wow.
Seriously, it's two very big topics that I tried to cover in one night. We've touched on it. And I think I'm going to ask Nigel to close on this. I am.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you for having
me.
me.
You have been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much.
I'll talk to you later, Jack.
Lewis and Claudette, it's always a pleasure to have you on. And thank you for your input. But we are going to ask Nigel to have the last say here. Nigel, what's your take on both the infidelity and polyamory discussion that we had?
Well, the polyamory I would take first, actually, because it reminds me of the Greeks, really, because the Greeks had a theory that there were different types of love. Like Eros was romantic love, agape was selfless love, etc. So there are different types of love, and not all love is necessarily going to have a sexual component to it at the end of the day, because you can love your child, doesn't mean you're having sexual relations with them, does it? So there are different types of love. In terms of cheating, well, we've been there and we've done that one already. I mean, there's not a lot more I can say about cheating, except that guys are prone. I mean, I don't say that flippantly. I mean, I've done the research. Like Lewis, I was a DJ for many years. I've been there, nightclubs, seen it going on, seen women fighting over guys, all sorts.
Yeah, but Nigel, what is it? What is it with guys? Is it that they are built that way? It's innate. What is it? Why do guys cheat so much more than women?
Well, a lot of guys are driven by ego, as someone mentioned earlier. It's often a I saw, I came, and I conquered kind of attitude. And I mean, I'm not sure Lewis would agree with me. I know guys from the DJ scene who weren't DJs, because obviously if you're in that environment, you see certain things. I know guys who've got 6, 7, 8 children for different women, right? So you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, well, what is motivating them? I mean, you could be married, have a couple of children with your partner, get divorced, maybe have a couple more. But when you've got 6, 7, 8 with various women, then something's going on there. That's not, for me personally, is not normal, basically. So again, it's ego.
Try 14. That's a record for me.
Wow.
Not me. Not me.
I was just about to say, did I hear right?
I thought the show was turning into Maury. or Jeremy Kyle. Anyway, I digress.
Listen.
Yes.
All I can say is, it's been a very, very interesting chat show tonight. It usually is, but this is territory that I have to say that where it comes to all the different polys, I am absolutely not used to. I don't know much about. I tried to do some research about it, but there's so many different polys that I just got confused. But I'm a little bit more understanding now after this discussion, and I can see that people have actually put in here, you know, we need a part 2 and we need a part 3, and we will probably come back and do that when we do series 3 next week. We're going to be talking about the tools that will help you or can help you to have a better relationship and a more healthy relationship. So that's going to be the last one for this series next week. I hope you can join us. Panelists, please stay where you are. I would like to have a quick chat with you after the show. I would like to say a quick hello and a goodbye to Trisha Perara also. Thank you to everybody who's taken part tonight on Facebook or on YouTube. It's been brilliant. Thank you so much. And yes, I'm now going to stop waffling on and I'm going to come to a close. Thank you so much. Good night.
Some brilliant guests tonight.
The reason why we are on lockdown has nothing to do with the fact of building our immune system.
Try something else for a bit, then stop. So they've been using us all as guinea pigs.
What I will do differently now is that I won't feel like I haven't got a voice because I'm not black.
Everybody's going to be dead at the same time.
I have never spoken about black on black because it's a nonsense, because most crimes are committed by non-blacks.
Let that child go to school and come back with anything and see me.
Good night. God bless. Time to go. Thank you very much for joining.